Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midwest City Council meeting, 25th of October version. Thanks for everybody being here. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. I would ask that you stand, and Mr. Sullivan, would you come and offer the invocation? Also, before we get started, I want to introduce two cadets from Carl Albert High School. They'll be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Cadet Davison, she's a junior at Carl Albert and plans to go in the Air Force Reserve when she graduates. And Cadet Biggers, who is also a junior at Carl Albert and plans to, and Vaughn, you'll like this, plans to go to OSU Med. They'll be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Would you bow with me, please? Almighty Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the beautiful day we enjoyed today, Father, and we thank you for the moisture that you've provided over the last couple of days. And Father, we thank you so much for those blessings. Father, we rejoice in the fact that we have men and women who are willing to serve in this capacity as counsel. Father, I'd ask that your wisdom and your discernment be upon them tonight, Father. I ask that their decisions be made that are for the good of the whole. Father, we thank you so much for their willingness to serve in this capacity, the sacrifices they make and their families make. Thank you so much for this beautiful city, those who are at the ready as we speak with you tonight, Lord, who are serving this community either in public safety or public works or a variety of different capacities in health care. Father, I'd ask that you give those men and women protection. Bless them in their decisions that they have to make. Thank you for their service to this great city. No city goes without its difficulties, Lord, and we know that we have our share. Father, I ask that peace be upon this community, peace be upon this nation, and peace be upon this world. And Father, the men and women who are all over the world tonight who are guaranteeing freedom for those who are free, we ask protection. Thank you for their service. Thank you for those who have served before and who have given the ultimate sacrifice. But Father God, none greater of a sacrifice than you made for us by sending your Son, Jesus. We thank you for the blood that was shed. We thank you for that gift. Thank you, Jesus, for being willing to go. We ask all of this in your Son's holy name. Amen.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may now be seated.
Thank you guys for being here. Okay, we're changing up a little bit on our agenda, so we'll go into the mayor proclamations, and I'll read those from here and try to get through them fairly quickly. And the first one up is our recycling program, and we've got two super recyclers here. And let me read the proclamation, and then you guys come up and present them. As you know, Midwest City is a recycling city, and we have a great partnership with Republic, and they started a new program, and I won't get into that, but I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the United States generates more than 258 million tons of municipal solid waste each year, and recycling efforts of communities and businesses throughout the United States have helped contribute to the American prosperity and protection of our environment. Whereas each year, recycling keeps approximately 89 million tons of material out of the landfills and gives it a useful second life and generates 700,000 jobs and a $37 billion in wages. Whereas the celebration of Recyclables Day brings the nation attention to the importance of recycling, and businesses, industries, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and individuals who have joined together to encourage everyone to learn more about recycling options and in the communities and commit to recycling more materials every day. Whereas the City of Midwest City and Republic Services have partnered to offer curbside recycling service to the City of Midwest City and host the 2022 Super Recycling Program to recognize those who practice proper recycling, which I didn't. I just want to throw that out there.
You weren't the only one.
I was on the wrong street, sorry.
You're the one that dinged me. Program where one way citizens can help raise awareness about the economic and environmental benefits of reducing waste by reusing, recycling, and buying recycled content products. Therefore, I'm Matthew Dukes, Mayor of Midwest City, do hereby proclaim November 15th America's Recycles Day and encourage all residents to and join in the effort of recycling. So let me give you this.
And I'm Carrie Evenson. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director, and I just want to say thank you to you all for making this such a big success. This is our very first year. We weren't sure how it was going to go, but I think it went really well. We gave out over 200 Super Recycler Awards, and everybody who received one was invited to come to the council meeting to be recognized for their excellent recycling. So if there's anyone in the audience that was a super recycler, if you would stand so we can acknowledge you.
Oh,
Tim and Pat, right?
and just as a point of order, that young lady back there in the corner is Senator Dave Herbert's secretary. So
And you actually had two people on the council, I believe, that were super
They cheated.
recyclers.
And then just also thank you to our volunteers, council members, city staff, Republic Services, for helping to make this a success.
So I just want to say one thing. Your city and the Public Works Department, Donna, Jerry, Carrie, Paul, Vaughn, even though he's not in, you know I love you, Vaughn. So you guys were phenomenal. I did this one other time, did not think I was going to do this again. And because it is a big investment for us, and I am telling you, Republic Services was so excited to see how many people showed up from your city, from all these departments that came in. Sarah was there. I mean, Donna was there. It was amazing. So I just want to say, your city is phenomenal. So
thank you.
Thanks, Crystal.
Republic's been a great community partner with us, and we appreciate the partnership. The next proclamation is the Extra Mile Day. And whereas the City of Midwest City is a community in which acknowledges the special vibrancy exists and within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort and volunteerism and service. Whereas we're a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the public by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and committing to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and society. Whereas Midwest City wishes to thank all the individuals and organizations within our community who go the extra mile to make a difference, and we are proud to support the Extra Mile Day. So therefore, I, Matthew Dukes, Mayor of Midwest City, do hereby proclaim November 1st as Extra Mile Day and encourage all citizens not to only go the extra mile in your lives, but also to acknowledge those who are committed to making Midwest City a better place to live and work. And last but not least, whereas the history and culture of our great nation has been significantly influenced by the American Indians and indigenous people. Whereas the contributions of the American Indians have enhanced the freedom and prosperity and greatness of America today. Whereas their customs, traditions, and are respected and celebrated as a part of our rich heritage in Oklahoma and throughout the United States. Whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976, and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August of 1990, designated the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And whereas in honor of the National American Indian Heritage Month, this community celebrates, as well as the numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities that have been planned. Therefore, I, Matthew Dukes, Mayor of Midwest City, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2022 as National American Heritage Month, and encourage all citizens to not only learn your heritage, but also celebrate these wonderful people. Thank you. Now we move into community-related announcements. Mr. Lyon.
Thank you, Mayor. A few announcements for tonight. Citywide trick-or-treating will be on Monday, October 31st. Check our website for safety recommendations and more, but it'll be Monday on the 31st. Halloween weekend is bursting with activities for Midwest City residents, with dozens of trunk-or-treat options such as the Neighborhood Fall Festival at the Joe B. Barnes Park on October 28th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., which is something the city is helping sponsor. And we have a handout. She'll wear the handouts. Ava? Okay. Where the pins are at. So there's a handout with a whole ton of options of the community events at various churches and other places within the city that have trick-or-treat options or Halloween options. So, and then our website has posted many of the local churches, Rose State College, YMCA, and Chamber are a place to see where they're all at. Many thanks goes out to Sergeant Tommy Lance with the Midwest City Police Department, who coordinated last Sunday's Sue Ann Arnold Family Foundation 3-on-3 basketball tournament. This event brought 20 teams from grades 4 to 8 to Joe B. Barnes Park, and there was just a tremendous turnout for that. Just you couldn't get a parking place there. So awesome job, something Sergeant Lance has been doing for some time. So great program. Chief, good job on that. Please let Tommy know. In partnership with the Midwest City Sam's Club, the Midwest City Neighborhood Services Department is hosting their 12th annual food drive November 4th through the 6th. We're asking for donations and non-perishable food items. These proceeds will stay local and benefit neighbors within Midwest City. Mark your calendars for November 8th. That it will be our annual Veterans Day Parade, and it begins at 10 a.m. on Thursday the 11th. And then finally, some information from our Economic Development Director, Mr. Coleman. Since our last meeting, we've welcomed more than 3 new businesses to our community, including Bob's Fish and Seafood on Northeast 23rd, HTO and Mo Betta's Hawaiian Style Restaurant, both opening in Sooner Rose Shopping and Entertainment Center. So happy to have our 3 new businesses in Midwest City. Please get out and support them, and been to Mo Betta's, and really excellent food. So anyway, Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. We'll move into our consent agenda. Ladies and gentlemen on the council, in order to kind of ensure that we're making good decisions up here, we've kind of been backwards in how we take motions and how we discuss them. So we're going to change up the order a little bit. So the way and also in order to make sure that our city clerk actually gets the motion properly recorded, we're gonna, when we go into an item that needs a motion, I will ask for a motion, and then a second, and then we will go into discussion of that particular item. Now, during the discussion, if there's any amendments to be made to the motion, then the person or the mover of the motion has to agree to the amendments, and we pull the motion off the table and we reintroduce it as a property form motion. I know it's gonna take us a while to get used to this, because it's backwards the way we've been doing it, but also, when you do make a motion, make sure that you properly verbalize it so that Ms. Hancock can get it recorded properly. Is everybody in agreement? Good with that? So, it'll take us a while to get through this, but we will.
So when we get to the discussion items, like discussion item number 1, we're not gonna have Billy come up and present it?
Sure, we'll continue to do that, but then we, as a council, will go into the, we will entertain a motion, and we'll get a second, and then we, as a body, will discuss it.
So it'll be presented first, then we make a motion, then we discuss it, then we change our motion if we need to.
Okay, so we can, if Billy's up there, can we still talk to Billy when he's up there?
Sure, you can
Before-
gain all the
before-
information you
Before the
need
motion's made?
before the motion's made. We just need to do that before we make a motion and properly form a motion. Again, it's gonna be a little arduous at first, but we'll, once we do it a couple times, we'll be through it. So, with that being said, we move into the consent agenda. These items are placed on the consent agenda so the council, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any council member requests to discuss an item, or if unanimous consent cannot be received, then the item or items will be removed and heard in regular order. The chair to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as it sits.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing or seeing none? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. See, that wasn't too painful yet. Now we move into our discussion agenda. Discussion item number 1, Mr. Lyon.
PC 2127, public hearing with discussion and consideration for adoption, including any possible amendment of an ordinance to redistrict from R6 Single Family Detached Residential to SPUD O-2 Simplified Plan Unit Development governed by O2 General Office District for the unplatted property described as a part of the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 7, Township 11 North, Range 1 West, west of the Indian Meridian, Oklahoma County, addressed as 2310 South Post Road. Mr. Harless.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. This is a request to rezone subject property from R6 Single Family Detached Residential to SPUD O2 Simplified Plan Unit Development governed by O2 General Office District. The applicant, Kelly Cook, is attempting to sell the subject property for a total development one phase. The 0.36 acre parcel is currently vacant. Staff have not received any calls or letters in protest at the time of this writing. There was a general discussion from staff and the Planning Commission to recommend the location of the driveway be off of 23rd Street. The applicant was present and agreed to the above mentioned recommendations. Planning Commission received no comments from the public. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item. Action is at the discretion of the council. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Harless?
So, and I agree with you on 23rd Street, but because of the school there, we need to make that motion, the driveway be on.
Yes, the ordinances require it, but in the past, the council hasn't been super firm on that. And so if they're able to connect to that parking lot and use that, then that's what we would prefer them do.
Because it's right across from the school too, so I think when there's a traffic light there.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Harless? Hearing none, the chair to entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve with the recommendations made at the planning commission reference to the driveway and the exit beyond Southeast 23rd Street.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item? I'm sorry, I was reminded of that. This is a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience have anything to say about this particular agenda item? Hearing or seeing none, is there any further discussion from the council? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Item number 2.
PC 2131, public hearing with discussion and consideration for adoption, including any possible amendment of an ordinance to redistrict from C3, Community Commercial District, and RHD, High Density Residential District, to C3, Community Commercial District for the unplatted property described as a tract of land being a part of the southwest quarter of Section 12, Township 11, North Range 2 West of the Indian Meridian, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma County, as addressed as 2500 South Douglas Boulevard. Mr. Harless.
Yes, thanks again, Mr. Lyon. This is a request to rezone the subject property from C3 Community Commercial District to RHD High Density Residential District, and RHD High Density Residential District to C3 Community District, Community Commercial District. Sorry about that. The applicant, Mr. Edward Juarez III, is proposing to add a 2-story dental facility and 2 fast food establishments. Staff has not received any calls or letters in protest at the time of this writing. The applicant's attorney, Mr. Box, was present. There was a general discussion amongst the Planning Commission. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item. Action is the discretion of the council. There was a little bit of discussion amongst staff and some other people about whether this would, eliminate the high-density residential to the east. This does not. This basically stops at the creek, and so those trees and stuff, staff would do everything in the PUD that was required before to preserve that screening up against the housing addition there. So hopefully that answers those questions.
Mr. Box?
This is a public hearing, and Mr. Box, you got the floor.
Yes, sir. David Box, 522 Colcord Drive.
Okay, Billy mentioned it, and I'm
Yes, sir.
sure you know it. When Chris Webster was trying to develop that, and now it's transferred, it was going to be high density.
Uh-huh.
And the agreement he made with the people in the orchard was that he would leave, well, he was going to be required to leave a buffer there on Apple and on Cherry with the trees. That's in the back part.
Okay.
And and I'm sure you're aware, because he mentioned about the high-density development that's going in there with Jeff Johnson and CMS Willowbrook. There's some drainage issues that they're working through, and that I don't think it'll affect you guys, but I would hope that working with our staff, you guys could hook up, because what the city has gone in and spent some considerable amount of money and some time trying to fix part of that. Now that that development's going in there to the east of you, there's going to have to be some more work done on it. Not from you,
Sure.
but it would be a benefit of your client and you if you get with Billy and them and CMS Willowbrook and Jeff Johnson, because they're together, to make sure that what the drainage doesn't adversely affect you, and you don't do anything that would adversely affect what they're going to do. But the big thing for me is that we'd had several meetings with the people in the orchard about those 2 different developments, Webster's and then one with CMS Willowbrook, and their big deal was, and they agreed, the trees, to leave a buffer there. And it shouldn't affect you, but I just wanted to make sure, because I'm going to make a motion when it comes to it, that the buffer and the trees stay in there.
So sure. So whatever agreements that exist on that piece of property are still there, because the legal description submitted, the zoning case before you today doesn't touch it.
Okay.
So it can't impact that. Whatever's there is there. The reason we chose this particular tract and not to go all the way over is, frankly, there's no good way to access it. So I'm not sure that land perhaps ever gets developed, but certainly nothing as part of this. This will just be a dental office. It's a local dental office. It's been here for 41 years. So whatever things that exist in terms of agreements on the tract to the east will remain. Legally, nothing could happen with it based upon the application before you.
Well, the people that I'm talking about right now are the ones that are already there, the Orchard Edition.
Sure.
And there is a group of people on that corner of Apple and on Cherry that are concerned about, there's a lot of trees there. I know not all of them are gonna stay, some of them are dead, they need to come down, but they do wanna have a buffer in there.
Understood.
Any further questions, Mr. Box? Does anyone in the audience have anything to say about this particular item? Hearing or seeing none, the chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve with the recommendations from Community Development and the Planning Commission and the issue of the buffer that's already in place on that property, that it remain with the trees along Apple and Cherry Lane.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? Yes, sir.
Briefly, when we say that property, when we say that property, the legal description submitted in this application does not touch the buffer you're referring to. So I want to make the records clear. There's no buffer on the subject tract.
I'm talking about just trees. I might have misstated. They're worried about just having some degree of trees there.
Sure, I want to be clear. It's not the subject tract. So whatever buffer agreements east of the subject tract, we're not impacting whatsoever. Our tract does not touch, I believe, the area you're referring to abutting those neighbors.
It does.
So is the tract he's talking about, Billy, page 10,
It's just,
where it's got the lines
can they
through?
see what we're seeing?
Okay,
Do they see
Sarah,
what we're
can you
seeing?
put page
I think
10 up
what
there?
he's worried about is right where the north, east part of that touches the housing addition there, that little bitty corner.
So that's floodplain. No, see, it doesn't. It's right here. So look at the red. Oh, yeah, that's not the property.
No, this is see, this property stops right there. And so, the buffer goes back here.
Yeah, so we don't touch that part. Okay, good. I just want to make sure we're clear.
Pat, is that the area he's talking about back here?
Yeah, I'm clear on it.
So do you need to restate your motion?
I'll just leave leave the restrictions on the land that's already there. He's already said that they're gonna agree to that.
But,
Okay.
another piece of property that is not
Correct.
subject. Okay.
We're fine.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the council? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Boggs. Item number 3, Mr. Lyon.
Public hearing with discussion and consideration, including any amendments of passing a resolution declaring the structure or structures located at 1309 Lloyd Drive, a dilapidated building or buildings as defined under MCO 9-2 abatement accordingly to the municipal code, and setting dates to demolish and remove the structures from the site. Mr. Stroh.
You have current pictures going around right now as it sits today. The structure was damaged in a fire on March 12th of '22. On April 25th of '22, the code officer posted notice for vacant, dilapidated, open, unsecured, and trash and debris. On 5/10 of '22, notice was mailed for tall grass. On 6/24 of '22, was contracted for trash and debris. 10/4 of '22, mailed public notice to the owner of the property for this hearing. 10/6, notice was posted on property. 10/12, the officer received a call from the property manager. 10/13, crews were on site mowing the property and cleaning up down limbs. 10/17, owner submitted a proposal for remodel permit through community development. And on 10/18, owner met with the inspector, or owner's agent, I believe it was, met with the inspector from community development and was told everything that he needs to have in order to receive permits. And then I have a memo, if you'd like me to read it, from the electrical inspector that was out on site and met with them, but basically just told them due to the two-story structure and with the damage, they would need engineering and architectural plans. But I do want to stress that they have applied for a remodel permit prior to this meeting.
The tall grass and the hauling away that you, we contracted out for that and we paid for it, right?
We did. We contracted, paid for it, and then sent the owner a bill.
Did the owner pay us back?
That I'm not aware of.
How many times have we had to send somebody out there again? It was kind of hard to follow.
We've been out there, code enforcement, 4
How many times
times.
have we contracted?
We've only contracted the one time at that property.
This is a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience have anything to say about the property? Please state your name and address.
Greg Riddles, excuse me, 8801 Northwestern is the address of our office.
Okay, sir.
On the 12th of May, we had 2 properties that burned somewhat within the same time, within about 3 weeks of each other, one of them being in southeast Oklahoma City and one of them being here. My maintenance staff personnel is somewhat new to it. I'm not making any excuses on what we have done. I want to apologize to the city of Midwest City, one, because we let it get to the point that it is, that it had gotten to. But on the, I believe it was the 12th of, let me take a look at my email here. On the 18th of May, I went to the city of Oklahoma City for their fire restoration permit. I came out here when I got done with that. Came to this building here. At that point in time, your fire department was not located here. They'd moved it over to the other facility. Got over there, talked with somebody there, couldn't tell you who. They sent me back over here. And I came upstairs and spoke with the lady, and she admitted at that point in time that she had never worked a day into that office. She had been with the city for a couple of years, but due to staffing, she was temporarily assigned to this position. I believe, I wrote down the name Amber, but she had given me an email address at that point in time of comdevelopment@midwestcityok.org. Said for me to email. That would go to Angie. So on that same day, I sent out an email stating to the, good afternoon, Angie. My name is Greg Riddles, General Manager with Complete Home Rentals. We had a house burn at 1309 Lloyd, and I am trying to figure out what we need to do. In OKC, we have a fire restoration evaluation before we can start pulling permits, and I'm not sure how to do that with Midwest City. We have set up our account online as directed earlier today, but not sure how to proceed. Do we just apply for a residential remodel, or is there a step in between? Thank you in advance for your help. Also have a record here where I called that same day, left a message to say, hey, please advise me whether you got this email. Never got a phone call back. They're stating that they have sent out these letters to us, and I'm not in argument that they sent them out. I am in dispute that we received them. And the reason that I'm in dispute that whether we received them is this is our violations right here. This is this year's violations. And everything that is in yellow that you see here has come from the city of Midwest City. Everything that is in blue that you see there has come to us on 1309 Lloyd. You see that there's only one thing. That one thing is the letter that they were going to condemn our building and tear it down. Again, I apologize that we allowed the building to get into that state. The day that I received that letter that was sent out that saying that this was a dilapidated building and they were going to tear it down, I immediately got in contact with Mr. Fryer, who sent out the letter. He said, man, if there was anything else I could do, if you'd called me a month ago, I could have taken care of this. I said, well, I didn't know you were looking for me a month ago, or I would have. And, you know, we moved forward. That was on a Wednesday. On the following Monday, I showed up out here first thing in the morning on Monday morning. Got to meet some of your great staff out here, including Ms. Hancock. You know, she kind of walked me through the steps, and I told her at that point in time, I said, I've never had this happen before. We have 540 doors. I've never had anything like this happen in my lifetime. I've been in the property management business in Oklahoma City for over 20 years. And I said, I'm scared to death. And she goes, hey, relax a little bit. She goes, this is not life or death. And I said, well, I've never been in a situation before where somebody's going to tell me that they're going to tear down a $90,000 piece of property that we can redo. So, you know, I went through all the processes that they recommended that I go to. I've met with Mr. Condry upstairs. He was great. He came out of a meeting that Monday morning to talk to me, give me some direction, some knowledge that I asked for back in May. Again, I'll take the responsibility that this should not have ever gotten to this extent. We've learned a lesson. I've changed some policies within our organization because of this. He did get a gentleman by the name of Derek to come out on that, I think it was Wednesday of last week, and tell me what needed to happen. I stopped back by here that afternoon to talk with Mr. Condry. He was not in. I left him a handwritten note. Didn't hear anything that afternoon, so I jumped in my car and I was here about 10 minutes after 8 again the next morning. You know, he was nice enough to allow me to record the information on what it is that you guys require here in the city of Midwest City. On that Thursday, we got the electrical quote, we got the plumbing quote, we got all the mechanicals quoted. He said, well, you know, and we got the blueprints turned in that afternoon. Not architect specs, but we did get the blueprint turned in. Yesterday, today's Tuesday, yesterday I met with an architect, got permission that got the quote for him to redo, to draw us the demo plans and the rebuild plans on this property. All that we're asking right now is for you guys to give us another 30 days on this property. That is not the current state of the building as it stands right now. Mr. Fryer had told me that he would be by today to get current pictures. There we go.
That's what they saw.
Oh, this is what they saw? Okay, all right, thank you. So you can see that I had 10 guys out there. As soon as I found out from Mr. Condry on what needed to happen, I had 10 guys out there. This is my maintenance supervisor sitting back here. He oversees all of our maintenance and our make-ready. He's with a company called Randolph Remodeling. We went out there, we got everything torn off of the exterior of the property. We got everything picked up and cleaned up on the interior, on the downstairs interior of the property. For us to go back with this building, which the exterior, the shell of this building is still structurally sound. It's not brought up to code as it sits. The only thing that keeps it out of code is that we need to come in. It's got slat up on the roof. We need to go up there and get some OSB put down and then re-shingle the roof. We won't be going back with a two-story building. That structure will stay, but we're going to put 10-foot ceilings in it and redo the interior of it. And that's all that I've got.
Mike, I've got a couple questions. It's now secured, but how long had it been unsecured for before this week?
I believe
I can't give you an exact date. I can tell you that I have the postmaster's signatures on when we mailed all our letters from neighborhood services. So, I mean, I can dispute whether they haven't received mail or not through the postal service, which is state statute. I will say that they have been on property since receiving this notice of hearing and have done,
How far is the
Tons of
nearest
work.
neighbor from that house?
I don't know.
Probably, it's about a three acre, maybe bigger lot. It's, right, it's, you can see on both sides of the building that where they're taking, that picture's taken from is from the street of Lloyd.
One of the things that I look at, and again, I'm one of just 6 votes tonight, I guess 5 if I can count, is how people work with us. We had to contract to get it mowed and stuff hauled off, and you guys didn't pay.
We didn't, until,
You got a lien put on the property when we did it. Didn't he, Mike?
I don't know that.
not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
But you got a bill.
No, we didn't.
Mike,
There,
did you
They
send?
should have through
we had,
finance, but
Ms. Hancock, the day that I was down there just having this conversation, I was explaining this exact scenario with her as with
So
you.
every single letter that the city's sent was lost somewhere, except the one saying that it was gonna be demolished.
That's what I'm
It's-
showing you here.
And
And I'm not,
That's
again,
incredulous for me to even think that that happened.
yeah,
And our post offices can be slow, but they sent 4 notices to you, and then they sent the one for demolition, and you only got 1 of 5.
yes, sir.
Councilman, I will say that according to the title search, there is no judgment by
Okay.
the city.
Okay. Actually, you would have gotten 6 letters
No,
at the very least, yep. You would have gotten the 4, you would have gotten the one for the bill, and then you would have gotten the one for the demolition. So you're saying only 1 out of 6 you received. And he's got signatures from the postmaster that they were sent.
I've got the documentation. I don't have the signatures there from the postmaster, but I knew, I'm not in dispute that they sent them. I have no dispute, just as I was explaining to Mr. Fryer the other day. When I was trying to get the documents, I had to go through open records to get the documents. I have verified that from what he's saying to be accurate, but I'm also verifying that what's in this folder that we got from open records, these pictures, I've never seen these pictures. I never saw an invoice saying that you guys took off 22 loads of trash. Where I made the mistake is not getting that taken care of before you guys had the ability to do it. And
So we've
I'm
gone until you
admitting
got
to
the
that.
demolition notice, and you never thought that, oh, we probably should have trash remediation?
You should have trash.
So
I'm
we've
not
gone from when
understanding.
it caught fire till you got the notice that it was going to be torn down. And you never thought that you needed to contract with somebody to get rid of all the burnt stuff and everything else?
We'd gotten rid of quite a bit of
We
the,
got rid of quite a bit of it,
so did we. So did we.
just
When-
within the last couple of weeks.
No, at the very beginning of it, we got rid of quite a bit of it. There was trash all around out there. There were cars that had to be towed
22
from.
trash loads were taken out?
Yes, sir.
All those roll-offs?
No, and to be clear,
No.
a load is a half-ton pickup,
Okay.
1.5 foot deep. So
Okay.
when you put a washer and dryer, for example, in the back of the truck, that is too
That's-
low.
Okay.
I want to stress that for his,
Thank you.
I mean, and I think I can clear up some. We're asking for a resolution to be signed, Neighborhood Services, which is 10 days to start. He started 30 days to complete. He's asking for 30 days. So I think we're in agreement with what we're asking, is we're asking for the resolution. I just want a timeline to hold their feet to the fire so that they continue to work.
Sure.
He's wanting a timeline to get the work done.
Well, I
don't
can't get
mean to
everything.
speak for you. but I
No,
mean, I
you're
think-
exactly right. I can't get completely completed in 30 days, but I can make a lot of headway in 30 days.
So that's my question, Mr. Riddle.
Yes, sir.
What's 30 days get you?
It should get the plumbing done, should get the electrical done, should get the HVAC done. Well, obviously, we'll start with the architect. Architect he told me yesterday that it's gonna take him, anywhere from 5 to 7 days to get me the plans. At that point in time, we'll have the demolition done. We'll have we should be able to have the HVAC, all the mechanicals
Okay.
You'll have the
done.
roof done in the 30 days also?
I'm sorry?
You'll have a new roof on within 30 days?
Yes, that roof will be one, as soon as we get a permit, that roof will be one of the first things. I mean, we've got to protect even though it's completely demolished on the inside of it, we still need to, we have a company policy that all of our properties are secured on a daily basis by sundown. what happened with him going out there is that we did have that property secured when we found out. My bank had to call me to tell me that something had happened here. The city of Midway City didn't call Complete Home Rentals to even tell me there was a fire. So I had to go and search down all the different organizations that were on site for that fire. When we got notification of this, we dealt with it, right? We boarded it up. When I met with the insurance company, the adjuster, yes, I had my guys go out there and unboard it. The insurance adjuster had told me that day when I was out there, he says, well, we're going to do I'll get everything done on the inside. He said, I go, well, how long are you going to be here? He said, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. He said, but I'll get this thing boarded back up when I leave. I said, okay. Now, I just worked with this guy 2 weeks prior at Southeast 42nd, exact same guy. And he did everything that he said he would do. So I was led to believe that, thinking that that would be done again. We have also had a breach in some of our policies. Every single property that we have that is on what we call an empty house list, we have 540 doors. Right now, I'm trying to get down to about 5 to 7%. So if you do 540 doors, you can do the math and see that I'm trying to get somewhere in that 30 houses that we're not making money on. But every one of those that is in what we call tenant moved, which is something of this state right here, once a week, that property, or once every 2 weeks, company policy is for that property to be driven by and verified that it is secured. So in the time frame that he's talking about, there is a possibility that he got by there while that property was unsecured. And I'm sure that he did. You know, I'm not saying, I'm not denying anything that the city is telling us.
Okay.
Right? I'm just here trying to get 30 days so that we can move forward. Both parties want the same thing. You guys don't want a property demolished in your city.
So,
We
Mr.
don't.
Stroh, it's going to be well within your guidelines, the 30 days. And then, as I recall, as long as they're making progress, then we'll be good. Correct?
Yes, sir. I have, as a council resolution, I have no leeway. It's whatever you put in that council resolution. So if you give me 30 days, I have 30 days in that other commitment. Right?
But,
If you
okay.
give me 60,
bring it back
but what
to
I need is the exterior. I don't need him to have sheetrock on the walls on the interior if the exterior's up to code. Then the neighbor, it's not deteriorating, it's not causing a blight to the surrounding neighborhood.
Can you get the exterior walls, windows, doors, everything up to code in 30 days?
Yeah, we can get everything from an exterior up to code in that time frame. My concern is, you know, this isn't our first rodeo in doing this type of stuff.
Well, this isn't ours.
I understand. And you can probably ask this gentleman here, when you put new windows into a property, what happens? You've already said that you think it gets broke into.
Correct.
So I don't have a problem putting the windows up if you'll let me go ahead and put the boards back up to protect our investment.
Mr. Stroh?
I'd be fine also stating 60 days just so that this whole speed fire gets undone.
Okay, so we've gone from 30 to 60 and allow him enough time to get what he needs to do.
Absolutely.
And
Now,
then
the
he
last
puts
thing
new
is
windows
put
in,
windows
he can board them up to protect them. You're good with that?
Hang on.
Absolutely, and I would
That'd be the
recommend not,
January 10th.
I would recommend not putting your condenser out there either.
Yeah, I won't.
And can we get a commitment for a refund on the money that the city?
Yes. I wasn't doing anything until I came to this meeting today. I did not get that receipt.
You think it's now been paid?
It has been paid because I got it to my bookkeeper.
Let's verify that tomorrow.
I will. I got all the information. Brenda, our bookkeeper, received all of this Open Record Act either Friday or yesterday. And she knows the situation that we're in. I'd given her full authority to get whatever needed to be paid in order for us to be brought up to date. Okay? So, now, I wasn't willing to go out and pay an architect to draw something that you guys were gonna recommend go to the ground today. You know, so,
We get that.
As
So-
far as I'm concerned, my vote is I would do 60 days, but I would not give you a day longer.
Well, January 10th will be our next council meeting, so Mike will have it back on the agenda for the 10th.
Mike, is it structurally sound?
The report from the building inspector is that he did a walkthrough inspection at 1309, at a building permit to start any kind of construction, and he needed to submit engineered and architectural plans to the severity of the damage caused by the fire and the fact that this is a two-story structure. He would need to pull all trades, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and he would also be held to the latest version of the code as per the OUCC. I gave him the building official's information along with mine to contact for any questions. And he sent this out due to the fact that it's going here. I have not been in the structure. The building inspector has, but with the issue that he stated with the severity, I don't know. The exterior, from what I can see, is absolutely.
Any further questions of Mr. Riddle or Mr. Stroh? Chair to entertain a motion.
Make a motion to allow 60 days coming back on January 10th for total completion. The outside.
This is a public hearing. I know we've had one person speak. You may want to find out if anybody else wishes to speak.
Yes, sir, I was getting there. Thank
That was my motion.
Does anyone have anything to say about this particular item in the audience? Hearing or seeing none, I do have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Chair, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. You got 60 days, Mr. Riddle. Thanks for being here.
You bet.
We
Thank you,
appreciate it. Not everybody's that friendly.
Well, thank you. I'm willing to accept when I do wrong, and
Well-
I appreciate you all working with us.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Item number 4, Mr. Lyon.
Public hearing with discussion and consideration, including any amendments of passing a resolution declaring the structures located at 1401 Moore Avenue, a dilapidated buildings as defined under Midwest City Code 9-2, and abatement accordingly to the municipal code, and setting dates to demolish and remove the structures from the site. Mr. Stroh again.
Thank you. On this one, the house fire was damaged on December 22nd of '21. Code enforcement did an inspection on property and posted the notice for vacant and dilapidated, open, unsecure, and boarded dwelling on April 28th of '22. On 5/11, code enforcement gave notice for tall grass and weeds. On 6/3, we received a call from owner of the property stating he would have the house removed within 60 days. On 8/25, notice was given for rubbish and trash and debris. When the code officer went to contract the tall grass, he couldn't due to the debris in the back. When that time frame came up and was asked to contract, I would not allow that due to the severity of the cost and with the fact that I'm bringing this in front of you to tear it down. On 10/4, we mailed notice to the letter to the owner for this hearing. 10/6, the property was posted. On 10/13, the owner applied for a demolition permit and a sewer cap permit. My understanding is the demo permit is still in the approval process. I'll answer any questions. I believe the owner is here as well.
So everybody's on the same page on this one. He's gonna demolish it, he says, or we will, right?
He has applied for a demo permit. I would like the resolution signed so that if it does not follow through, that we would do so ourselves. It needs
This
to
is a
come
public
down.
hearing. Mr. Aubrey Long, I believe you want to address the council?
Aubrey Long, 1205 South Air Depot. I have plans to tear it down. I've been fighting with the insurance company, if I'm being honest, on getting money to tear it down. It's been boarded up and we've been mowing it, keeping it up as best we can, but
How about that picture on the left that I'm looking at? Doesn't show that it's been mowed at all, and that was on October 8th.
that is a dead tree that got damaged and the winter of '21 storm that is in debate with the neighbor to the south of whose property line is on.
I think state law says if a tree falls on your property, it's yours, even if it's the neighbor's.
Okay, it's a broken tree branch, and part of tearing the house down, getting the total lot cleared, so that'll go.
So it's your plan to go ahead and clear the lot and clean up the debris and,
Yeah, we have everything, the sewer cap, permit's been pulled and it's been completed, I'm waiting on the plumber to call it in to get inspected. OG&E's pulled the power, ONG's pulled the gas meter, the city should cap the water meter this week. So, pretty straightforward. The only thing, I would like 60 days, just the contractor that is tearing it down, that's what he does for a living. And it could be 2 weeks, it could be 6 weeks before he gets there. This kind of thing, 60 days for sure. I plan on doing it in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Just relying on other people, we just kind of.
Mr. Stroh, what are your thoughts? We relied on you last go around.
With him waiting on the demo permit still, I don't want to give him a drop dead deadline and then have to have him wait for the permit. I'm fine with the 60-day request, but with no extensions because the permit obviously will be issued by then.
Any more questions of Mr. Long? Any more questions of Mr. Stroh? Chair to entertain a motion. This is a public hearing. Does anybody have any issues? I have to be reminded of that all the time.
So this will be also on the January 10th meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to get this cleared out by that time.
Yes, sir.
So make a motion for 60 days. It comes back to if it's not torn down on the 10th of January.
I have a motion. I have a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Council.
I wish all of them went like that. Item number 5, Mr. Lyons.
Discussion consideration including any possible amendment of approving and passing an ordinance amending Chapter 30 Parks and Recreation of the Midwest City Code, Article 4 in general by amending Section 30-46B, golf course rates, establishing effective date and providing for repealer and severability. Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you'll recall, memo states that we adjusted golf course rates earlier in the year, and we have some of our regular folks at the golf course who felt like maybe they were a little left out in those. We did away with a lot of our annual green fee prices at the golf course when we redid the rates back earlier in the year, and staff agrees that we left some folks out that we need to make sure can play some affordable golf. So a couple new rates are proposed here. Annual rate of $2,500 Monday through Friday for Midwest City residents, unlimited play with cart, and then we also have an unlimited play with trail fee for $2,025 per year. Staff would recommend approval.
And you mentioned it too, Vaughn, was it's Midwest City residents,
That's correct, sir. This is Midwest City residents only.
Could a non-resident buy one at a higher rate?
We do have a rate that's good for anyone, yes. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It's higher than the 2,500. I think it's around 2,800. Anybody can buy that one.
For informational purposes, a resident brings a driver's license and a water bill, or just a driver's license showing their residency?
Our standard identification is a photo ID and a utility bill, Midwest City utility bill to prove your residency, yes.
We do have a former mayor in the audience, Jack Fry, who I know
He doesn't know
routinely goes out. Do you have any issue with
He
this?
doesn't know how to play golf,
Mayor?
sir. Jack?
You good with this?
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm new to this
Okay.
golf course thing, and so I just wanted to see, just to refresh my memory, how much was invested in this renovation collectively?
It was right at $4 million worth of construction, and then we bought another $1 million worth of equipment for a total of about $5 million.
And do we currently owe any debt
No,
on
ma'am.
that project?
No,
It's
ma'am.
already paid off.
The citizens of Midwest City agreed to tax themselves through property tax to fund that $5 million.
And have we just verified to make sure that other golf courses that have these types of annual plans, that the amount that we're placing on there is comparable to what
Yes,
others
ma'am.
are offering?
It is very
Good.
competitive. Many, quite honestly, Ms. Banna, many of your municipal golf courses don't have annual rates, or some people call it a membership. I've tried to avoid that language, but it's not, we are a daily fee course. We're not really set up to be like a country club. So many municipal golf courses don't even have an annual membership.
Thanks for the education.
Need to recognize the fact that this is kind of a roll on the dice on both the city and the people that buy the memberships. Because let's say we have a really hard winter, and there's no golf play for a couple of months. They don't get credit for that. They just don't play. Same thing with, for those of y'all that don't realize it, we're a really popular golf course right now, and there's a lot of tournaments there during the week. You know, that's just part of it.
It's hard to get on right now.
And if there's a tournament, they don't get a credit for it.
Right.
They just.
And
so
to book their tee time, they book their tee time just like everyone else. They first come, first serve. So, but we have some folks that play a lot of golf in those good days too. So, but we believe this staff believes this is fair
Pat,
to all concerned. So.
you're the golf guy. Pat took his dream job as a cop and then retired to his better dream job to work on the golf course.
Vaughn hit the nail on the head. It's fair. It's fair for both sides. You know, there will be some years that the golfers will benefit from it, because if you have a good winter where it's warm for January, February, and March, they'll get to play some golf. If you have a bad winter where the golf course is closed for days on because it's frozen or it's snow, then they lose out. But it's a gamble on both sides. But the city, it's fair, and that's the important thing. It's fair to the residents, and that's what we're trying to get at. And you guys should have all got probably a letter about it. And this is, I believe it's fair.
And the folks you talk to that golf like this also.
They understand that nothing's for free, and that they have to pay their way, the fair way. So we've heard, Vaughn's heard, I've heard, but this is fair, and that's what I've been telling them. This is a fair deal for everybody concerned.
In most years, Mr. Reed, the folks who will buy this annual, they'll get their money's worth. Trust me, they'll get their money's worth.
Does anyone have any other questions of Mr. Sullivan? Chair to entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as it's stated.
I have a motion and a second to approve as stated. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Item number 6.
Discuss and consideration approving, including amendments or resolution recognizing the dedication of the City of Midwest City employees. Mr. Mayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been a public employee and been in the public, dealing with the public, you have no clue as to what issues are brought forth to our employees. Nobody is happy. If you get a high water bill, it's Sarah's fault. If the roads are bad, it's my fault. I get it all. But we have approximately 500 of the most dedicated, hardworking employees in the state of Oklahoma. And I am a tad bit biased, since for 31 years I was one of those employees. And they just don't get a break. So I felt it extremely appropriate that we're coming up on 80 years. Our 80th birthday is in March of next year, plus our 80th anniversary that we've been with Tinker Air Force Base. And so I felt it appropriate that we do a resolution in recognition of our employees. So I'll read it. Whereas the City of Midwest City was established in 1942 as a community supporting what is now Tinker Air Force Base, and for 80 years has provided excellent services to the citizens of this community. Whereas city employees are not only an asset to the city, but are vital to maintaining the consistent services needed for human survival, such as clean water, sewer, trash, public safety services, as well as providing a quality of life, a high quality of life, including community events, and all with minimal interruption during disasters. Whereas as many services and hard work of the employees are oftentimes overlooked, underappreciated, and yet time and time again have proven to be the most valuable assets of the city, managing each and every department with integrity, efficiency, and the highest quality is proven in their year's audits. Therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Midwest City recommends as follows. The City Council of Midwest City recognizes and commends the employees of the city, not only as an important part of the infrastructure they support, but also essential to the future progress of the city and its residents and merchants. Furthermore, the council dedicates itself to protecting and providing for the employees and their families in every feasible manner possible. This resolution is hereby presented to the council, and I request approval. Chair to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this resolution? As required, Ms. City Clerk, could you do a roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. So therefore, be it resolved that we've got the best employees in the frickin' state. Give them a round of applause.
Mayor, I'd just like to say, as a city manager of this community, I'm thankful to the council for this recognition, but I'm most thankful for all the people that sat over here to my right that are department heads and managers for this city and our employees. I would, as a city manager, not trade them for any other city in the state of Oklahoma. So I'm proud of them and the work they do, and we have an awesome team here, more than you'll ever know if you were in other cities like some of us have been, like Edmond. We're so much better than they are. There's no comparison. That's all I got to say.
I concur with that analogy. Whoop. Oh, well, I don't need it anyway. Last time I used it, I broke it, so. We knew, thank you. I will hit you with it. We now move into new business public discussion. Be advised that there's a number of you that have signed up to speak during this time. I do have to advise you that since it is not an agenda item, we cannot engage in a back and forth discussion with you on these items. You're free to come up to the podium as I call your name and state your business to the city. I would ask that you remain civil and be articulate and be succinct in your statements. Again, we cannot engage in a back and forth discussion with you. If we do hear something that we need to take note of, then we will make note of it and then bring it back as an agenda item at a later date. So with that being said, Mr. Ted Nugent, you signed up. And he gives autographs after.
Yeah, I'm not the real one. I wouldn't be
actually a
here.
little disappointed when you stood up.
Mayor, City Council, Midwest City residents. I'm going to start a little bit. My name's Ted Nugent, 2412 South Douglas Boulevard. Business owner here in Oklahoma, in Midwest City. And I'll give you a little background too, if you give me the time. I was born in Center City, Philadelphia. So I've been in a big city. When I was 4, I moved to Baltimore. Lived there until I was 18. And I watched both those cities. They were great cities at one time. I watched what went on. Both cities are not the same as they were when I was younger. I left Philadelphia when I was 24, joined the Air Force, spent 22 years serving our country. After that, I spent another 15 years before I opened my business taking care of some great first responders and fire department, law enforcement officials, and the military. And so and then what brought me to Midwest City was the Air Force in 1983. And I'll tell you, this city's a great city. I've watched it for a long time. What the mayor just proclaimed, a lot of patriotic people in the city because Tinker Air Force Base is back there. A lot of patriotic people work here. We got a great police force, great fire department, great city services. But last month, I watched in disbelief as our city council was turned into a clown show. Hurt me deeply. I watched elected council member and outside city residents, People Council of Justice Reform turn the meeting into chaos. I watched them accuse a council member of corruption without any evidence and further agenda of shutting down CJAC and the jail. CJAC is over, and that's a moot point now. You guys voted. Many citizens of Midwest City, because I'm in the business, I listened to them. Don't agree with that vote. But it was done. It's part of our system and how it works, and it's over now. But I have a question for one of the council members, Councilwoman Banna. I know you can't respond to me, but I think Midwest City owes a lot of answers because the video didn't show what really happened, but it was definitely a clown show. And I have questions for you. And you owe the citizens of Midwest City an answer to the following questions. Who forwarded the city council YouTube video to Reddick? Why did you feel the need to bring outside residents to our council meeting? Why was the need for a lawyer? Was it pre-planned? Was this your personal lawyer or paid by an outside influence? Who funds the People's Council of Justice for Reform? I think that's an important question too. The next day after the meeting, our city hall was inundated with threats of violence. Numerous city resources were used during the attack. Will you publicly condemn this attack and ask for peaceful actions from the People's Council for Justice? Will you apologize to city council member you accused of wrongdoing? There is no proof. He knows an apology. I have talked to numerous citizens of Midwest City. They're appalled what the circus was turned on in our meeting. You sit on a board that represents the people of Midwest City in Ward 5, not your own personal stage for personal agendas. Your smiling and personal conduct was appalling. It was a circus, made our city look bad. It reminded what ruined the great cities of Philadelphia and Baltimore with activists and city organizers. What your outsider did is not Midwest City. The people that were in this room were not from Midwest City, they were from Oklahoma City. This is our city. Citizens look forward to your answers to my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nugent. Mr. Galbraith, Thomas Galbraith.
Yes, my name is Thomas Galbraith. I live at 913 Lotus Avenue here in Midwest City. I also came to Midwest City by the way of the military. Not myself, but my father. My father is retired from the United States Air Force, and we moved here, I think, in about 1961 or 62. Since then, I have stayed here, married here, been married to this woman for 57 years. My parents stayed here. So, Mr. Mayor and council members, I come before you tonight as a citizen and Army veteran of the United States Army. I would like to address the council concerning the incident from which Council Member Sarah Banna and the protesters at the last council meeting and the protest outside of City Hall. As a member of the United States Army and a Vietnam veteran, It bothers me in the way that a council member has disrespected the American flag by draping it around your neck as an ornament. I come from a military family. My father retired from the Air Force. My brothers, along with my father and myself, served in Vietnam. This did not only disrespect me and my family, but all current and former members of the armed forces. Under 4 U.S. Code, Section 8, respect of the flag. No disrespect should be shown to the flag of the United States of America. The flag should not be draped around any person or thing. Regimental colors, state flags, and organizations or institutions' flags are to be draped as a mark of honor. Subparagraph D. The flag should never be used as wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. It should never be festooned, drawn up, nor drawn back. In fold, but always allowed to fall free. Bunting of blue, white, and red, always arranged with the blue above, the white in the middle, and the red below, should be used for covering a speaker's desk, draping the front of the platform, and for decoration in general. When I joined the United States Army, I took the official oath of enlistment. I, Thomas Galbraith, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the order of the President of the United States and the order of the officers appointed over me according to the regulation and uniform code of military justice. So help me God. This to me means that I will also defend the flag of this country. And by the way, my oath of enlistment never expires, and I'm sure all of the military in this audience right here would say the same. Miss Vanna, I know you're an activist. I have seen you on TV and in the newspaper many a times. It bothers me, you as a city councilwoman, let your agenda flow into the Midwest City Council meetings. In our country, you have the freedom to express yourself, but as a suggestion, I would ask that you keep your activism outside of the Midwest City Council. This is very disappointing and disrespectful and appalling. And I do not like seeing you and your protesters demonstrating in front of Midwest City Hall while you are a councilwoman. You have a standard you swore to uphold, and this was a great embarrassment to our city. As a citizen of this great city, I would ask that you evaluate your position on a city council and decide whether you want to be a councilwoman or an activist. I would like to thank the Honorable Matt Duke and the council for allowing me to speak tonight. Grace and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Galbraith. Mr. Mark Thompson.
Mark Thompson, citizen of Midwest City, 212 Country Club Terrace. I concur and support the remarks of the two gentlemen that preceded me. They were more eloquent than I certainly expect to be. But I came tonight to express my gratitude to you for your patience and your perseverance in the face of what I perceived was an attack last month. You did well. You held your own, and I know it was difficult. Must have been difficult, and the events that have occurred afterwards probably much more so. So you have my gratitude and the gratitude of all the people that I have spoken to who are knowledgeable of the situation. But I also want to express my dismay for the actions of one of your group who intentionally led a small invasion of activists and malcontents who held this council literally in captivity for 5.5 hours. It was a horrible thing to witness, completely unnecessary and very unfortunate. And I think there is a remedy, and I would encourage the city attorney and the city manager to look carefully at our city charter, specifically Article 6, Section 6, dealing with political activity when on duty. And I would say to you, Ms. Banna, that you are on duty when you are sitting in that council chair, and you have no right to be political. You can keep your political opinions elsewhere, but when you sit in that chair, you are officially on duty as an officer of this city, and you have no right. In fact, it's explicitly written that you are prohibited from engaging in political activity, which is what, in my opinion, you did last month. And you should be held accountable for that, and whatever the remedy that this board and this city can find to act against you, to make you aware that it is an intolerable thing that you did, I would fully support. Let the investigation begin and let you pay the price. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Brittany Hussein.
Good evening. Brittany Hussein, 609 Crescent Circle. Pardon me, I lost my voice, so I'm going to use this microphone. First, I'm kind of disappointed I wasn't a super recycler, so I'm going to just put that out there. Ms. Hancock. I'm just kidding. I also wanted to address the meeting last month. As a citizen of this community, I felt very disrespected by the conduct that took place in this room last month. It was disrespectful to me as a resident, to the other city council members, the employees of this city, which thank you all, every one of you, for your work and your commitment to our city, and just you guys all being here till 1 a.m. Like I made a Facebook post and I said, it is no secret that our council people care about our city, and that is the truth. I believe that. I do feel like that my time as a resident was wasted for the sake of attention and fanfare. I was disappointed to see the number of recruited speakers who were here that evening. I cannot speak for them, but I would guess that they don't know our city council, don't know the people in this room, haven't had coffee with our mayor or seen the grandkids of another council member, and done live colleagues with one of them. And so I want to say that those people did not speak for myself and for many other residents of the city that I know personally. I know the media was here, and I was very disappointed by the representation of Midwest City by our media. Our community was sorely misrepresented in the articles and the videos that I saw. It was stated that Midwest City residents did speak regarding the CJAC issue, And the truth of the matter, I was the only resident who spoke on that issue. You guys did vote opposite of what I thought with that committee, but that's okay. That's your job, and I respect that. I respect your vote. And I respect even my council person, Mr. Reed, voted opposite that I would, but that's okay. And I respect you, and I thank you for listening and representing our ward well. The cyber attacks I saw were, I was flabbergasted at the things that I saw that were written about you guys, about Miss Eads, and I wish she were here tonight. I want it to be known publicly. I don't always agree with Miss Eads, but I believe that she was not out of line. I support her, and I really do want her to know that she has the support of most of the residents here in Midwest City. And I think the attacks that I saw publicly on the internet were just asinine. Looking at my notes here. I do know that there was one other Midwest City resident, I do want to recognize that, who did sign up to speak. She did concede her time to former Senator Johnson that evening. But I just want you all to know that I am proud to be from Midwest City. I am proud to be able to be welcomed into these meetings and to have the platform to speak. What was presented that night was not a representative of your residents in your city. I would have much rather seen people from your ward here to support your ideas and your opinions if they supported that. I would have much rather seen residents here rather than people from other cities, other municipalities coming to really make a scene out of our council meeting, which should have never been the case, should never happened. I am a Midwest City transplant. I moved here in 2007, met my husband, haven't left. I do love it here. This is the longest I've ever lived in one city. I am proud to be from here. I respect all of you. I thank you for what you do for our city, and I thank you all for what you do for our city as well.
My name is Susie Byrne, and my husband is Councilman Pat Byrne. He asked that I not do this tonight, but I'm here anyway. I'm a registered voter. I have opinions, and every once in a while, I just have to let them out. So please forgive me. I thank you for this opportunity to speak. I live at 1202 Three Oaks Circle. I've lived in Midwest City since 1958. Now, that's a long time. I knew Sean Reed's grandfather. I used to work at the Chamber of Commerce in Midwest City. Grover Phillips was my boss, and his grandfather came in regularly for coffee with Grover. And he was always so kind and very nice to me. And I remember that because, excuse me, he was very special. I was just the lowly receptionist at the front door. I came at a time when Bill Atkinson was building houses in Ridgecrest. That's how long ago it was. I went to Midwest City High School, Monroney, Ridgecrest. I attended Rose State the first year they opened. I was vice president of student activities, go figure. It's just, I'm trying to point out to you, this city, excuse me, my voice is going. This city is special. It's a small town located next to a big city, but it has maintained that small town feel. And that's what everybody says about Midwest City. People are friendly. Everybody knows everybody. They either went to junior high or high school or college or something together. We know each other. That's unique. Okay, that's very special. I was so upset after the last council meeting that I swore I was going to speak at this council meeting because I want everybody to know that that was not us last month. That was not Midwest City. That is not representative of who we are as a community. I heard several statements about how the council members and the city staff are corrupt. Now, that's a big word, corrupt. Corruption is a serious word. It requires proof, and no proof was given. If it isn't true, it's slanderous. And those words were spoken about my husband. And I will tell you, I have never known a more honest man, a man who will stand up for his ideals and will go the extra mile to make sure he does everything by the book. That word just doesn't even exist in his vocabulary. The city is understaffed. Everybody knows that. And they're trying to support the public, a public of almost 60,000 people. And there was a group of people that came in here with one topic on their mind, and that was the jail trust, and CJAC. And they were going to shove it down our throats, whether we wanted it or not. We were being forced to vote because they felt their need, their one item, was more important than the rest of the 60,000 of us, right? Isn't that how you feel? That's how I felt. That's how I felt. I felt like we were being bullied and belittled. There was no decorum. People were yelling things out. They were rude and disrespectful to the members of the council, to the city staff, and they were disrespectful to all of us. And I, for one, don't like it. And I'm not going to stand for it. I'll rally the troops if I have to, if I think that'll ever happen again. But I really ask that the council employ whatever methods you have through Robert's Rules of Order to control this council where that never happens again. It was embarrassing to be treated so disrespectfully by a council member from another city. That was outrageous. And he should be very ashamed of himself. He knows better, and he was in here having a lark. He thought he was being really funny. And the rest of the crew were no better. As for the gentleman that said he was in the military, if he was here tonight, I'd thank him for his service. But he was disrespectful to all the other military men and women who are in this room. Okay? That's wrong. And we can't have that in our city council meetings. Just can't have it. It's disrespectful. We have business to do. We have business to do for the citizens of this city. We have our own problems. I'm telling you, I feel terrible about the jail. I don't like it. It makes me sick to my stomach, the way things are being done down there. But this council, this community, is not going to change that. And to come in here and ask us to take our prisoners somewhere else, come on. You can't do that. There's a lot of reasons why. There's rules. We have to work within the system. That's what I've always been told. You have to work within the system. The system starts with the county commissioners. Those are the people that have the power over the jail. And if we as a community, all of us, feel that it's important to go address the jail issue, then we should be calling our city council people and saying, city council person, I want to get involved in this. I want Midwest City to stand up and go to the council, the county commissioners, and address this. But to come in here with fists raised and bully us That's not the way to get things done in Midwest City. I worked at Tinker for 42 years. I feel like I serve my country. Right? All of us that have worked at Tinker feel that way. That oath of allegiance the military say, we say the same thing as civilians. We make a commitment to our country. And it is disrespectful to be treated like this. This community is military-based. We follow rules. We do things the right way every time. And I'm sorry if I'm getting a little wound up here. I'm sure I'll hear about it when I go home. But I feel very strongly about this. And the people I've talked to feel the same way. I'm asking you, let's have decorum. Let's have respect. Let's do things the right way. Thank you for your time. Sorry to be lecturing. I'm still angry. Thank you.
My name's Gail Fry, and I live at 908 Southwest Minster Road in Midwest City. And the problem with being last is all the good stuff has already been said. And but the first thing I want to do is I know most everybody up here, and I want to thank each and every council person up here for all of the time and effort that you guys put in. I come from, my father was a city councilman here in Midwest City many, many years ago, and my husband has been an elected official in the past, and I know exactly what you guys are doing. I've never done it myself, but when a person that you live with, it is in your home, I know the hours and hours and hours that you spend reading the agendas, taking the phone calls, doing all of that stuff. It's enormous. I mean, it truly is. You can't even imagine. It takes up an enormous amount of time. It wears and tears not only on the person that holds the office, but it affects the whole family. And I just want to say I want to appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart for doing all of that, because it's an enormous job. And I was not here last Wednesday night, but that is the reason that I'm here, or not last Wednesday, but the last council meeting. And I read about it in the newspaper, and I made quite a few inquiries and that type of thing. And I am so thankful that you guys have stayed. I'm glad that you all still have stayed here and assembled here. And Sarah, I don't know you. I've never met you. You're a pretty young girl. And it disturbs me so much that you have been so used by a group of people that they're only using you for an agenda because you have a position here at the table and you can get media coverage. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're using you to just try and destroy our city. And I have you beat, Susie. I've lived here for 69 years. I was born and raised here, and I love Midwest City with all of my heart. I've never lived anyplace else for the exception of 6 months, and I could not wait to get back here. And I see you furiously writing, and I wonder what all that you're writing about. And these are such good people, and I know you feel like you're being viciously attacked. I know you must feel like that what you're doing is right, but you are not representing, I believe, even the constituents in your ward. And that's the one thing. When you hire on here, when you ask to be on this horn and everything, you represent your constituents and you do what they want you to do. And I know you can't answer back, but did you go and you ask all of your constituents that this is what they wanted you to do, this is how they wanted to be represented in your ward? I would think probably not. And I don't know if you're trying to be an AOC or somebody that is going up the ladder to be some sort of radicalism, but
please, please do not use our city to further your agenda. And it's not fair. I know you in your heart think that we're a bunch of all old fogies up here and that we have nothing relative to say, but this is our city, and we don't want to lose our city to those type of agendas. And we live in a military town, like it or not, and we love it. I mean, the sound of freedom flies over us every single day, many times a day. We are so blessed to live in a military town, so blessed. And when things like this come up, believe me, the DOD looks at a lot of stuff. And when they're the town that is right next door to them, that houses all of their military people. I mean, this is where the people, the military men and women, they come and they eat in Midwest City. They shop in Midwest City. It's just so important to us. They look at this kind of stuff. I mean, heavily. And how would it feel if we lost Tinker Field because of some sort of radicalism? Things like that can happen. Those are things that you have to think about. And I mean, it's just so unfortunate. I'm sorry that I was not here. I heard so much about it, and I know you feel like everybody's picking on you. And I wish so badly that all of these rules to where that you could stand up and say why you did what you did. It's very remarkable that you would choose to do this to hurt so many people that you proclaim to care about, or I would assume you wouldn't have run for office. Why? I wonder why you did run for office, if you could give us an answer for that. I know you can't speak, but that is something that maybe the next council meeting why did you run for office? I mean, I'd love to know why. And it's just a very unfortunate thing, and I want to support all of you that are here and the ones that aren't here. I know Rick, I haven't had a chance to meet Miss Eads, but I hope that you all can coalesce together and stay together, and I really pray, and I pray for you. I honestly do. I pray for you. I hope you're a Christian. I'm a Christian, and I pray that the majority of the people in here are Christians. And God loves you just like He loves me. He loves everybody. The rain pours on the just as well as the unjust. But I hope that you will rethink your agenda if you decide to stay on as a council person. And I hope that you rethink that this is not just about you and your agendas. And one last thing is there any way that you could make some sort of an amendment or some rule or whatever it is to where people that do not live in Midwest City cannot have a platform here? If they're here as a lawyer representing someone like on a case or something, I get that, like the guy that was here tonight for the demolition of the place over there on Lloyd, I get that. But can you not make some sort of rule that no one can come up here and talk unless they live in Midwest City? Because they don't have to live with the consequences of it. And if that is something that can be done, I think that would be well worth the effort to look into. Thank you very much. You've stood here and you've been had a lot thrown at you, and I'm very sorry to say, but very deservedly so. But I hope that you really look into your heart and rethink all of this, because we have a wonderful city and we do not want to lose it.
Thank you, Ms. Fry. Before we move on with the rest of our agenda, I do want to announce that Ms. Eads isn't present tonight. Her mother in the final stages of life, and she's dealing with that. So please keep her and her family in her prayers. Her and her mother are very close, and so she's walking through those steps, and I think she's going on hospice tomorrow, and so please keep her in your prayers and thoughts. We now move into, we do have an executive session attached to this agenda, and I would ask for a motion to recess.
Motion to recess.
Second.
You asked, and it was.
I did. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we are hereby recessed, and I call to order the Midwest City Municipal Authority. We do have a consent agenda. These items are placed on the consent agenda so that the trustees, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any trustee requests to discuss an item or unanimous consent cannot be received, then the item or items can be removed and heard in regular order. That being said, the chair would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. We move into new business public discussion. Does anyone have anything to bring before the authority? Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned. And before the gallery evacuates, thank you for being here and taking an interest in your community. It's greatly appreciated. I call to order the Midwest City Hospital Authority. We have two discussion items. Mr. Lyon.
Discussion and consideration for adoption, including any possible amendment of the September 27th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes of the agenda? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Discussion item number 2.
Discussion and consideration of, no action needed. I don't need to read that.
No action needed on discussion item 2. We move into new business public discussion. Does anyone have anything to bring before the hospital authority? Hearing or seeing none, we are hereby adjourned. And I call to order the Special Economic Development Authority. We do have a consent agenda. These items are placed on the consent agenda so that the trustees, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any trustee requests an item, requests to discuss an item, or the unanimous consent cannot be received, then the item will be removed and heard in regular order. The chair would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. We now move into the public discussion of this agenda. Does anyone have anything to bring before the authority? Hearing or seeing none, we are hereby adjourned, and chair would entertain a motion to reconvene the council.
I'm sorry, Mayor, could we take a short recess before we go into executive session?
Yes, ma'am. We'll stay in recess until everybody can take a break.
Are we doing the executive here or upstairs?
In here.
Again, thank everybody for
And I'll
being
have
here.
to read it too.